Hey, what's up, everyone? A little bit late. I had a technical difficulty here. Um, just want to jump on quick before we start the show. This is going to be an absolutely short show, unless for some reason a lot of people come into the chat and start talking about the topic. This is going to be a short, quick episode. I find it a little bit comical of a paper tonight. I was doing some research on the Negro world, and I came across this paper some time ago, and I figured, tonight is a good night to bring this out. And we're going to be talking about advertisement placements in black newspapers. This paper is from 1925, so this was right in the heart of Garvey's time in America. They're going to compare a couple of black publications, one of them being the Negro World. And you're going to see how black folks spent advertisement dollars, and what the content of advertisement, what type of content worked on black folks. And the overwhelming ultimate question is going to be, is it still the case today? And I'll let you guys decide, right? We will have this conversation on the other side of the intro.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about black empowerment. Our show focuses on black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Goku. Glad for you guys to be tuning into this show whenever you are. Just want to remind you guys before we start the paper that this show, the Bitter Medicine Podcast, is a part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network that you are being invited to tune into.
This is W.E.B with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-black perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the revolutionary matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Yes, indeed. Also, we are looking to expand the network, but we're trying to expand into different geographical locations. We want folks from the continent speaking about continental issues. We want folks from throughout the diaspora, the Caribbean, the UK, Central, South America, etc. And so if you know someone who's a small YouTuber, or if you're that someone who has interest in talking about the news in your neck of the woods as it pertains to black empowerment, black nationalism, etc., you guys should take a listen to this.
Have you ever considered joining KWAZ Radio? Each of our hosts shares their unique perspective with you. You might have a perspective that needs to be shared. If that's true, hit us up at kwaz.radio@gmail.com. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do?
what are you going to do? Email KWAZ Radio at kwaz.radio@gmail.com. Okay, so let's get into this very short paper. Let's talk about advertisement. You guys are probably seeing the video, and you should look it up on YouTube, How to Sell to the Negro. Right? And keep that in mind if you've watched that documentary before. Keep that in mind as we read this. So, Newspaper Advertisements and Negro Culture by Guy B. Johnson. Thus far, studies of the Negro press have placed little or no emphasis on the matter of advertisements. Naturally, one looks first at news articles and editorials when one wishes to study the press as a social force or as a reflector of current opinions and cultural trends. There are some things, however, that advertisements say more plainly than any news story or editorial ever could. Ain't that the truth? Present study was undertaken primarily with the idea of analyzing the advertisements in certain representative Negro newspapers in order to find out whether or not there is need for further research along that line. It was hoped that, incidentally, some light would be thrown upon the question of the status of the Negro's culture in the United States. You see, folks are studying you, man. And I'm not going to keep saying that because it's obvious at this point. Are you studying them? They know who their enemies are. They know who their sworn enemy is. They study what you do. Because let me tell you something. I'm probably going to see it later in the paper. If your culture is going in the right direction, you'll see it in your media, your cultural output, your music, your art, etc., etc. And when it's not, it's easy to tell what captures the eye of black folks in media, right? So you could just look at what do black folks watch in television? What do they watch in the movies? What do they read if they are reading? All those things can kind of gauge, is this a people that we have to worry about? Let's look at their cultural products. Is this a people that we have to worry about? What pulls their gaze? And right now, what pulls most black folks' gaze is what's going on with white celebrities, white and black celebrities, right? People who are known out there, and that's what people focus on. These folks know that we really not a threat, not at present. Briefly stated, the methods employed in the study were as follows. During the months of January, February, and March 1925, all advertisements, except for classified ads, in 5 representative Negro newspapers were measured in terms of column inches and tabulated under the following schemes. So pay attention to these schemes, y'all. Class A scheme was advertisements about clothing, food, fuel, homes and real estate, medical and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. Class B advertisements are about books, magazines, newspapers, music and musical instruments, theaters and amusements, colleges. Part B. Class C is about beauty preparations, patent medicines, firearms, cheap jewelry, charms, good luck emblems, clairvoyance, etc. Now, if you guys, let me see if anyone's live with me. But if you're listening to the playback, like I'm sure several of you will be, the question is, and so no one's really live, but the question is, right now, before we go further, Class A, B, or C, what do you think? Which classes of advertisements do you think dominated Negro newspapers or black newspapers back in 1925? Let me read it one more time. Class A is clothing, food, fuel, homes and real estate, medical and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. That's Class A. Class B advertisements were about books, magazines, newspapers, music and musical instruments, theaters and amusements, colleges. Class C advertisements, again, with beauty preparation, patent medicines, firearms, cheap jewelry, charms, good luck emblems, clairvoyance, etc. Right? Which one of those groups, right, be honest, which one of those groups you think is the group of advertisement type that dominated most prominent Black publications at the time? To continue, approximately 50,000 50,000 column inches of advertising material was thus surveyed. The papers used were the Chicago Defender, the Negro World, the Norfolk Journal and Guide, the Atlanta Independent, Houston Informer. All of these were weeklies, right? So these are papers that are coming out weekly. I hate when these old papers don't splice well. You can't copy stuff. You can't highlight stuff well. And so all of these are weekly papers, predominantly Black areas, right? The first two are large metropolitan newspapers with a wide circulation throughout the nation. So that's just the Chicago Defender and the Negro World. They just weren't local to Chicago, right? And of course, the Negro World tells you in the title, right? These papers were widely circulated throughout the nation. The others have a more or less local influence in their respective sections of the South. So obviously the Houston Informer was more for that area, the Atlanta Independent for that area, and Norfolk Journal for Norfolk, right? The distribution of the three classes of advertisements named above is summarized in Table 1. One must, of course, be particularly careful in drawing conclusions from data of this kind. I'm glad they put this in here, by the way, because there's a very simpleton read of what the table says, and I'm glad they put that in here. For example, the high proportion of space given to Class C in the Defender and in the Negro World is no more a discredit to those papers than the lower portion in the other three papers as a credit to them. So what are they talking about? Let's just jump here to the table. So remember what Class A, Class B, Class C is about. And if you looked at the percent distribution of advertising space devoted to each class in these 5 newspapers, remember the Chicago Defender, the Negro World were more nationwide papers. The next 3 are more local papers, right? When you look at the Chicago Defender and you look at Class A, only 6%, right? There's only 6% distribution of advertising space devoted to Class A. So only 6% of advertisements dealt with clothing, food, fuel, homes and real estate, medical and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. And that medical and other professional services is interesting in Class A because in Class C, we have patent medicine. So keep that in mind too, right? So if you look at the Negro World, Chicago Defender, a very small amount of advertisements were dedicated to those areas that Class A would cover, right? Clothing, food, fuel, homes and real estate, medicine and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. The Norfolk Journal had almost 50% of Class A advertisements. The Atlanta Independent had about 35%, and the Houston Informer had 50%, almost 51%, right? Class B again is books, magazines, newspapers, music and musical instruments, theaters and amusements, colleges, right? If you look at the Negro World and the Chicago Informer, they're closer to about 15% in this respect. So again, Negro World is Garvey. Garvey is pushing a little bit more than he's pushing clothing, food, fuel, homes and real estate, medical and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. He's more so pushing books, magazines, newspapers, music and musical instruments, theaters and amusements, colleges. That's what I would expect. from a Garvey type. And the Chicago Defender actually pushed that type of content a little bit more. But here's where it gets really interesting. For both the Chicago Defender and the Negro World, 80% of their advertising space is dedicated to Class C advertisements, which is beauty preparations, patent medicines, firearms, cheap jewelry, charms, good luck emblems, clairvoyance, etc. I want to talk about clairvoyance in a minute too, right? And then you'll see in the other three journals, this class of advertisement beats out, well, except for the Houston Informer, where it's 43%. But for the most part, this class of advertisement beats out the others, right? So, the Norfolk Journal actually has higher Class A than Class C, but you see where I'm coming from, right? Now, there's a reason for this too, by the way, and I might be jumping the shark to say this, but newspapers, and I see we have NYC Sports Archives here saying greetings. Yo, make sure you guys are checking out NYC Sports Archives. They had a nice video of a high school basketball game that was pretty dope. So check out their work when you can. Check out that channel for sure, right? As I was saying, and by the way, thank you NYC Sports Archives for coming through. So as I'm saying, there's a reason why these kind of ads would even be in a Negro World from what we know of Garvey and the Chicago Defender. The reality of it is, to get these papers distributed, you have to have money being put into the company, and that comes through advertisement. And the folks who are more willing to advertise, as you will see later, you got to get that money from them. And the folks who are more willing to advertise are the folks who are talking about this type of stuff in Class C advertisement, right? These are the folks who are pushing beauty preparations, patent medicines. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to explain that in a second. Firearms, cheap jewelry, charms, good luck emblems, clairvoyance, etc. Right? Those guys who I would call easy and early, I would call them grifters, tend to be on that type of stuff. Right? So you got to get that money where you could get it from. This is why I always push this idea. You have to support Black media. Conscious or serious Black media. You're supposed to be supporting that. We don't need these messages getting to our people. Right? But I digress. Let me continue with it. For example, the high proportion of space given to Class C in the Defender and the Negro World is no more discredit to those papers, and the lower proportion in the other three papers is credit to them. Certain advertisers do business only with publications which are circulated extensively. So that explains why you have a variation in the numbers between local newspapers and more national newspapers, right? Thus, the large papers emphasize the advertisements that have national appeal at the expense of the local type of advertising. Smaller papers, on the other hand, being unable to command large shares of national advertising, are obliged to work the local field more diligently. Thus, they get a fairly large proportion of the type of advertising which we called Class A. So to repeat that again, Class A advertising will get a larger proportion in the smaller papers, right? Seeing that they aren't able to compete nationally so much, right? They'll work harder and they'll get those Class A type advertisements in local papers, well, clothing, about food in the area, fuel, homes and real estate, medical and other professional services, insurance, savings, etc. So those smaller papers tend to get those advertisements. Again, to continue, the poor showing made by Class B is to be expected, being largely due to the classification itself. Right? The classification is that it's about books, newspapers, magazines, music and musical instruments, theaters and amusements, and colleges. Right? Those would get a smaller amount of push, I guess. Aside from all these considerations, however, one is justified in saying that advertisements of Class C seem to enjoy a prestige out of the proportion of their actual worth. Within Class C itself, beauty preparations easily holds first place, with patent medicines second, while firearms, jewelry, and quote-unquote good luck emblems rank very low in point of actual column inches. In fact, during the period covered by the study, one paper ran no advertisements of firearms. Another ran none of good luck, and two advertised no cheap jewelry. Quantitative measurements, however, are merely suggestive indices of the importance to the Negro of various kinds of advertisements. Right? So they're making a point here to say that what you see Black folks go for in advertising doesn't necessarily or doesn't commit the whole group, but it strongly suggests that it's the whole group, right? NYC Beauties is here saying hello to everyone. Kevin Carey 42 says, greetings family. You guys check out NYC Beauties. You guys follow Kevin Carey 42 as well. I appreciate you for being here, brother. Really do. All right. To continue. A 2-inch advertisement of a good luck ring or a package of incense, quote, guaranteed to influence your enemies, end of quote, may be more significant than a full page devoted to Madam So-and-so's beauty preparation. Let us examine, therefore, the content of the advertisements in Class C. Very few of the advertisers of beauty preparations can afford any longer to advertise their products in a conservative way. Perhaps a few unscrupulous companies have forced all the others to the present policy. At any rate, practically all the beauty preparation advertisements now make their appeal to the desire for straight hair and light complexion. Here are extracts from a few representative advertisements that may be found in many of the Negro papers. So they don't point out which paper some of these examples could be found in or would be found in. When I was doing my study a little while back, I was trying to study something about the Negro World newspaper. I was looking at some microfilm, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, I was trying to find some information, some specific information I did not focus on. I did not focus on the advertisement. So it could be the case that a lot of these different styles of advertisements you're about to read might not have been in the Negro world when it comes to skin lightening and hair straightening. So I'm uncertain. Okay, I just want to keep that clear. I'm uncertain if those type of advertisements were in there. I would believe no. But again, when you're running a paper, or even if you're running a podcast network, or whatever it is, sometimes you're going to have to take money from folks to keep those lights on. It might not be what it is that you that your principles would follow, right? Or that follows your principles. I'm just saying, right? To keep those lights on, to keep people employed and people fed, you might take on certain advertisements that are not, that you don't believe in. You know, those, like someone was joking about this on the Shoot the Breeze episode a couple weeks ago. The views expressed by so-and-so does not reflect So it's that kind of thing sometimes, right? Let's get into it, though. Get into it. So here are extracts from a few representative advertisements that may be found in many of the Negro papers. So this is one. New 3-way skin discovery gives you white skin beauty overnight or no cost. Amazing bleach works under the skin. Science has perfected a new 3-way treatment to harmlessly bleach, lighten, and make an ugly, blotchy skin beautiful, but the treatment costs nothing. Used by stage stars and prominent people everywhere. You will love these creations. Results often the first night. Treatment is complete. Skin beauty can be yours. God damn. Here's another one. Lightens your skin or money back. Safe, sure, quick, bleacho. Be more popular. Earn more money. Safely and secretly, you can now remove the greatest obstacle to your success. And I'm going to talk more about that later. Bleacho is guaranteed to lighten your skin regardless of what it is now. Right? Far more effective than any other skin bleach on the market, endorsed by leading beauty authorities. Positively harmless. Lightens your skin for your money back. Another one. New discovery whitens skin almost overnight. No more blackheads. No more sallow skin. No more freckles. Science has made a new discovery which clears and whitens your skin with amazing quickness. Make this 3-minute test. There's hidden beauty in your skin. So wonderful, so quick are the results of this new scientific cream that we absolutely guarantee it. Get a jar now today. Use it for only 5 nights. Then if you're not delighted and amazed at the transformation, your money will be instantly refunded. Let me just pause here before I go any further. I'm surprised, to be honest. I didn't realize like those money back guarantees were being done 100 years ago. I was under the assumption the money back guarantee was something from like the 80s or something like that, right? So it's eye-opening to see that this money back guarantee goes back a ways, right? It also stands out in one of these ads I read before. Yes, safely and secretly can now remove the greatest obstacle to yourself. And I think that says a lot. I think a lot of black folks do shit that they think will take down the obstacles that they have and allow them to more easily integrate into white hegemony, right? And that still happens today, right? That's still going on today. YouTube is doing something strange. I see one concurrent viewer, but 18 likes. Pretty strange, right? But I'll take it, right? So that's what stands out to me. Another thing that stands out to me before I continue is, remember, ADOS, FBA, these are U.S. papers circulating amongst black communities. This is before the time that you guys claim you fought for immigration to open up to Africans from other parts of the diaspora. So these papers, these advertisements were being placed because, ding, 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 y'all were doing this bleaching stuff. So I see like Tariq Nasheed, just to give you some context why I'm bringing this up. Tariq Nasheed likes to make this joke about cake soap Jamaicans and cake soap Caribbeans and Nigerians and all this kind of stuff. But, safely and secretly, you can now remove the greatest obstacle to your success. And we knew this was true because we heard Malcolm talk about it. Just saying. To continue. All of these advertisements are illustrated by the well-known before and after pictures. In the hair preparation advertisements, the same tone is found. For example, wonderful gland discovery goes direct to root and grows beautiful straight hair. Look how they bolded it. Oh, I'm sorry, capitalize it. Full, healthy, abundant, without kinks. So easy now to have new hair, luxuriant and straight. No hot combs. Results in 22 days or no cost. FDA, widely known scientist, discovers gland treatment that goes direct to the hair root, stimulates new growth, straightens and cures scalp troubles, straightens the hair overnight, stops falling hair in 48 hours, awakens dormant hair glands. Ugly, kinky, scanty hair can easily and quickly made to grow into lifeful, luxuriant abundance. I mean, look at the wording, right? And this is in black newspapers. Science has perfected a hair treatment that gives the race beautiful, straight, and glorious hair. Another one. Takes kink out in 3 to 6 days. They're simply going wild over W's famous kink straightener. New discovery. Acts like magic. It's different. Contains no grease. Does not harm the hair or turn it red. Guaranteed to straighten your hair, or you can return bottle and your money will be cheerfully refunded. Another, make your hair straight and beautiful. Try this quick and simple method, which thousands now use. Don't envy your friends who have gleaming masses of straight black hair. Have it yourself. It is a simple matter to achieve that glossy black wavy effect which our entire race admires. Convince yourself of this by using our patented Dixie Curve tooth straightening comb. After an acquaintance with advertisements like these, one is not surprised to find the following device beginning to be advertised in the larger papers. So here's an example. How to obtain beautifully shaped lips. Mr. T's new lip shaper, together with its thick lip astringent lotion, will now reduce protruding, prominent, thick, unshapely lips to normal and thus improve your facial appearance 100%. My new appliance is comfortable, easy to adjust, and is worn at night. It will also promote correct breathing and eliminate the harmful and annoying habit of snoring. Yeah, it's wild. This stuff is wild. Not many of you are here with me today, but I hope you guys are listening to this in the playback. This is wild, right? In the patent medicine advertisements, nothing is impossible. Rheumatism, gallstone, rupture, asthma, goiter, childlessness, venereal disease, all are cured by a few doses or applications of this or that. Such advertisements appeal to ignorance and naive desire to find a cheap, sudden, and complete cure for ills real or imaginary, serious or insignificant. I will say this is still the case. You know, I have an episode. I think it might have been me and Onita Say from the Pro-Black Perspective, where we were talking about snake oil salesmen like Tariq and Uma and all these guys. This is what they did. What they're doing today is the same thing. They're appealing to the ignorance and naive desire of black folks today who call themselves ADOS and FBA to find a cheap, sudden, and complete cure for all their ills, right? Which is like, for example, reparations, right? Or send these foreign blacks home, right? It's just you looking for, you know, when Tariq sits up and jokes about some Nigerian and cake soap and this, that, and the other, and weave and all that stuff, where are they getting that from? Where's that coming from? Who else shared those same foolish outlooks? It happened to all of us in the diaspora. It happened in the continent too. You're not better than anyone else. Stop with the exceptionalism nonsense. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. But this is the stuff that you're still falling for. Everyone is familiar with this kind of advertising. It is found in many of the white newspapers. An unusual type, however, is found in those advertisements that have to do with sexual disorders. The first and second of the following are always accompanied by an illustration depicting a man and woman in close embrace. Gland talks, for example. Eminent German scientists discover that 90% of our ills are due to rundown glands. Glands can now be restored so that you can again enjoy the powers and vigors of youth by taking gland talks. Nervousness, lack of ambition, tiredness, rundown condition need not trouble you anymore. Notice what they talk about. Nervousness, lack of ambition. Okay. Next one. Lost gland vigor reported restored in 24 hours with new discovery. Chicago doctor makes tests and then recommends new gland discovery to his patients. Old men report startling rejuvenation, youthful vigor, joyous and vital gland activity reported by many within 24 hours. Many tell of complete rejuvenation. They write like this: your gland discovery is worth $1 million to me. I can hardly realize such magic return of gland vigor. I again feel the thrill of youth. My wife praises you to the skies. You know, I should really study how to write advertisements. I had once considered that, but I've talked about advertising in Black communities before in a podcast in the past. But I should really study that because there's a definite science, psychology in writing advertisements. And to figure out what makes people percolate. You know, you're watching a sporting event and McDonald's comes on and all of a sudden you're on your phone ordering McDonald's, right? What is it in that imagery, in the time it's shown? Like, I need to understand that better. Because we got to be about the work of propagandizing power, Black power, amongst our people. And how can you perhaps write, whatever it is, not just ads, but how can you write in a way that really gets to the minds of people to actually want to run out and do something, right? The Harsh Reality Podcast is here. That's D.W.E.B. D.W.E.B. is saying grifters gonna grift. Absolutely. Right? But if you can expose the grift, I think it's useful. Lost vigor restored to aged man. If age, sickness, dissipation, abuse, overwork, or weakness has robbed you of your vital powers, if your system is weakened or run down, your glandular vigor lacking, then your system and glands will quickly respond to this new wonderful scientific discovery that science has given you. Glowing health of youth, results or no pay. Get new pep in 20 minutes. Send right now for the most amazing quick-acting pep-producing tablet that has ever been created. Absolutely pure, no harmful or habit-forming drugs, yet contains the most marvelous element in all nature for a quick pickup of vigor, strength, vitality. The interesting thing about the jewelry advertisements is that the majority of them appeal not directly to a desire to own the jewelry as such, but to a desire to own something magical, something which connotes good luck. Do we do this today? Yes or no? Do we do this type of thing today? Let me do a station ID break real quick. Let me just remind you guys of all the other shows on KWAZ Radio, and then I'll come back and finish the paper.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
This is W.E.B with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-black perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the revolutionary matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Yes, indeed. Make sure you're checking out all those shows. We have the Pro-Black Perspective is hosting a Spaces this coming Friday. That's New Year's Eve. I'm not sure what the topic is yet, but you guys follow us on Twitter. Follow the channel here on YouTube. Follow the Pro-Black Perspective, who also has a Discord as well. And you'll be able to learn what the topic is. I hope to see more people attending other spaces that we're hosting, those of us who are hosts on KWAZ Radio. So, let's finish this paper off. We're talking about jewelry advertisements. The interesting thing about the jewelry advertisements is that the majority of them appeal not directly to a desire to own a jewelry as such, but to a desire to own something magical, something which connotes good luck. So here's an ad. Be lucky. Join the charmed circle of the fortunate ones. Your longings for good fortune, for beauty, wealth, and power, make them come true. Let us send you the sacred scarab ring of the pharaohs, the likeliness of which was found in the tomb of King Tut-Ankh-Amen. Riches, success, love, health, and happiness shower on the wearer of this beautiful ring. You know what's weird about this thing? If you're a comic book fan, you probably already know where I'm going with this. But this sacred scarab talk, they actually use this in a DC comic for the character, the Blue Beetle. So it's interesting to see it here, and it is exactly like the Blue Beetle's origin stories are exactly what they're describing here in this blurb. Let's continue. The next one, why be unlucky? Many strange reports of good fortune are traced to Impoluck charm. Make things come your way. Get the Master Imp's formula for good luck in love, business, games. Carry his symbol with you always on chain, ribbon, fob, or in pocket. Next one. Weird Misto outfit. The original Weird Misto talisman ring wards off evil spirits, sickness, spells, etc. Ancient belief brings success to wearer in love, business, and games. Right? Love, business, and games. All undertakings. Green gold finish, snake set with lucky ruby and emerald. Fits any finger. Next one. $800 in 3 hours. Made $800 in 3 hours after I put on Chinese good luck ring. Says MW, famous star. Others say it brings success, happiness, good luck in love. The most striking advertisements of all, however, are those that appeal directly to superstition and belief in magical and occult powers. Now, this could be kind of tricky based on being Africans. But again, you have to accept that you're an African to kind of understand where I'm coming from. Professor E.O. has just had some very wonderful African Lucky Temple powder sent from Africa to help his many friends, which will make a complete change in one's life. This powder will change your present disposition to a happier one, or your money refunded. Price is $5.50. Special love charms. Premium master of helper in finance and love. No professor has ever made such an offer yet. Did you ever stop to consider why some are making a success and others fail, and you are one of the failures? Secret revealed if you will enclose $2. Professor E.E., Master of Science, Mohammedan native of Africa and Oriental science. Luck and advice given as to the whereabouts of lost friends or stolen articles, love, finance, etc. To those who desire it, cure all kinds of diseases, drunkard by Oriental science, positively no medicine used at all. Professor E is determined to bring relief to suffering humanity. Bring relief to suffering humanity. Understand what that means for you. He that can understand, let him understand it. Advice only. Send $2 in your letter. I will astonish you with the marvels of African science, powerful root herbs and incense. No matter how unfortunate you are, the Gosha incense will influence your enemies. Professor D will bring peace, love, and happiness to your home. Right? I think Soul Train did the same thing. The gift of God, not done by alchemy or magic, but by the power of God. The professor is an occultist from Cairo, West Africa. African secret incense brings luck and success in your home if you burn it. That evil eye for many years was the cause of my undoing. Take heed, lest it be yours also. Write me personally and confidentially for advice on business, domestic love affairs, everyday ailments. 30 years worldwide experience solving these problems. Another one. If you want to be lucky, happy, and well, tell your secrets to the right man. Happy in friendship, business, etc. Medical preparations for conjured pains. Love applies in all forms. High John, the Conqueror, Adam and Eve, all kinds of roots and herbs. Next one, strange powers. GGD something. America's illustrious advisor says worry and fear can cause distress, disease, and discord. I can help you conquer this evil. If business, domestic love affairs, or health conditions trouble you, write this beloved woman freely, frankly, and confidentially. Another, for success and happiness, consult Professor SBA, Master of Science, special offer. 1 package of lucky incense and 5 questions answered, and a lucky amulet charm with 1 bottle of cough tonic, all for $5. A natural root worker against all sorts of sorcery, all spells release, which have been failed by artificial medicines or medical treatments from physicians. Notice, by the way, how they use these academic titles. Notice how they use these academic titles a whole bunch. All right. I want to thank all you guys who are here with me tonight. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the subscriptions. Very helpful to a small channel like this. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are checking out the other shows on KWAZ Radio. These examples are sufficient to show the characteristics of the achievements in what we have called Class C. It is quite evident that nearly all of these advertisements make their appeals in rather unusual ways. And yet, is it not true that the advertisers have adopted such methods of appeal as will bring the largest response? Certainly, we may assume that no advertiser continues for long to put money into a field which does not pay. So that's the thing. Why do they advertise this way? Because people respond. To continue an increasing exploitation of certain fields among the Negroes must mean then that such exploitation is profitable. This means in turn that no matter how pathological the situation may appear when viewed from the outside, the things advertised have subjective values and a certain efficacy for the Negroes who buy them. In view of these considerations, we must take for granted a rather extensive use of hair straighteners, skin whiteners, gland restoratives, magic cures, luck emblems, and the like. Have hair straighteners and skin lighteners become permanent features of the Negro's culture? That's a question we can answer today. What say you guys? Have hair straighteners and skin lighteners become permanent features of the Negro's culture? How can we reconcile the fact that their most extensive use is found in the class of Negroes who are most race conscious. Now, that's the hurtful part. Is this a contradiction, or is it merely the same thing viewed from different angles? Namely, the Negro's readiness to do anything which will contribute to his chance for success. And that's what I think we see from Black folks today. Anything to secure a bag is what Black folks are on. So if I got to blonde my hair, I've gone to college with dudes, Haitian dudes, blonde hair. Why? Why? Right? Because you think it will contribute to your chances of success? To be up around white folks? Mr. Dunford and his Conflicting Forces in Negro Progress, which appears in this issue of the journal, has touched upon this question more fully. The present study cannot attempt to get into the various implications contained in the data considered above. It can merely point out the apparent existence of such and such a practice or attitude reflected in the advertisements and suggest a few of the questions which need further investigation. The use of the questionable kinds of patent medicines is, of course, to be expected of the poorer and more ignorant. But it is more difficult to explain when found among those of the middle and upper classes. Does it indicate a reluctance, even on the part of the cultured Negroes? I hate that term. To trust a professional medical man? Or does it indicate inability or unwillingness to pay the regular fees for advice, treatment, operations, etc.? It may even be that many of the advertisements, quote-unquote, create ills in the most suggestible Negroes and cure them by a process of suggestion so that the cures win prestige, which, for all practical purpose, is real. Again, it may be that the cultured Negro has not yet weaned himself from all of his old heritage of superstition and voodooism. So this is a way to kind of gauge things as well in Black communities. The latter suggestion gains weight when placed alongside the advertisements of magic and good luck. Can it be that there is still a widespread belief in magic and voodooism? If it is as prevalent among the readers of newspapers, that is, the more well-to-do classes, as the advertisements seem to indicate, is it proportionally more prevalent among the unenlightened masses of Negroes? Here again, we can only present questions that suggest themselves. Interpretation must wait upon research, and certainly here is an opportunity, interesting research. Again, this is a paper from 1925. Shout out to Kevin Carre 42, by the way. This is a paper from 1925. This paper is just shy of 100 years. And these were the practices then. Do you see these same practices in newspapers today? That is the question. Do you see these same practices in newspapers today? I want to share something with y'all. I recently was in a Caribbean food spot, and I picked up one of there's like two major Caribbean publications stateside that can give you a little information from back home. And I picked up one. I want to share this with you guys. I picked up this one here called the Caribbean Times. I know it's a little bit small on the screen, but I just want to go through this Caribbean Times paper with you guys quickly. So we see this is the most recent one celebrating Christmas or whatever, right? On page 3, this guy takes out a full page spread that says, "No problem without solution. International spiritual healer, clairvoyant from Africa." Didn't we just read about this in the paper? Didn't we just read about this same type of stuff in the paper? Right? Now look what he's offering. Right? By the way, he goes by the name Professor Did I mention the academic names that they use? Professor Karamo. He says, I can help with all your problems, even most desperate case where others have failed to help. Right? Now, there's a full price. I forget what their prices are, but this guy put that in that paper because he figured there's people who will seek out his services. What is he offering? Bringing your loved one back. Protection from enemies or business. Reunite lovers. Family problems. Sexual problems. Court cases. Business exams. Jobs. Black magic. Voodoo. A difficult child or difficulty having a child. Health issues. Evil spirits, etc. Didn't we just read about 90% of those things that I listed off? Did we read that in those ads? And this just came out sometime last week. Let me go a little further to show you all how it's still going on. Work private and confidential. Quick results in a few days. Didn't we see that as well? Use a skin bleaching cream. You see results that night? Didn't we just talk about that? But here's the kicker. 100% guaranteed. Speaks English, French, etc. Calls such and such and such. All right. At the bottom it says donations only after results. All right, brother. All right. But this is still going on. Right? This is still going on. Let me just quickly, again, I said this wasn't going to be a long episode. I'm sticking to that. Let's quickly go down a couple more pages. All right. Oh, why that page is not showing up. Or something janky has to go on when I'm on live, right? So it's not, for some reason, this is not going forward any further. But there are other ads in this paper that are similar, right? We're still going for the okie doke, right? We're still going, and in this case, it's a Caribbean paper. I'm certain you could find similar in other papers from other diaspora demographics here in the States. We're still falling for the same okie doke. This is why you have to support independent Black media, especially when it's organized well. So in this new year, you're going to see that from KWAZ Radio. When you see how it's organized, I am putting a call to action to you guys to support it. Support it. We got to get this stuff out of our media, right? And the only way to do that, only way to have media is to, I could just stop showing this now. The only way to have media is through the support, through the donations of the people that the media is intended for. If you want to advertise your businesses, legit businesses, not this grifter bullshit, look to link up with the Harsh Reality Podcast or Revolutionary Matron or Onita Say, the Pro-Black Perspective, and advertise your businesses. Let's start doing good business, clean business that doesn't sully or dilute the message. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. I should be back again on Thursday with an episode of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. And of course, Saturday night, Shoot the Breeze, starting on day 1 of 2022. Hope all you guys are there, right? And until next time, you guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.